For generations, Dominaria had learned to survive the cold. But somewhere beneath that endless winter, a planeswalker had begun asking a different question. Not how to survive it, how to end it. Her name was Freyalise. To the elves of Finnhorn, she was protector. To some, something closer to a goddess. She had helped their forests endure an age that should have destroyed them. But Freyalise understood something the generations beneath those trees did not. The winter surrounding them was only part of the problem. Freyalise and the world's spell. The Sylex blast had changed more than Dominaria's climate. Its consequences had reached beyond the world itself. In the centuries after Argoth, a barrier had formed around Dominaria and neighboring planes. A wall no ordinary traveler could see, but planeswalkers could. They called it the Shard of the 12 Worlds. The shard did not resemble a fortress. There were no gates, no guards, no chains. And yet, it trapped some of the most powerful beings in existence. Planeswalkers caught within it could not simply leave. Those outside could not simply enter. Even Urza was unable to return to the world he had helped break. Freyalise refused to accept the prison. She studied it, tested it, searched for weaknesses. She was not merely trying to escape. Dominaria itself had become trapped inside the consequences of the brothers' war. The winter endured. The shard endured. And Freyalise began to suspect that the two could not be separated. She was not the only planeswalker searching for freedom. Others had been trapped within the shard for centuries, and eventually, they gathered. A meeting of beings powerful enough to reshape worlds, united by one problem. How do you escape a prison built from reality itself? But they did not all intend to solve that problem the same way. The gathering became known as the Summit of the Null Moon. Freyalise came searching for an answer. Farallin had already chosen one. He believed the death of a planeswalker could release enough power to create an escape. And someone attending the summit was meant to provide it. What Freyalise believed was a search for freedom became a trap. These were beings who could cross worlds, destroy armies, rewrite landscapes. But power did not make them allies. The summit fractured, old ambitions surfaced, and Freyalise learned a lesson Dominaria had already learned too many times. Someone promising salvation might simply be searching for a sacrifice. The conflict carried Freyalise to Azoria. There, she fought Tevesh Zat. The battle devastated the plane, and when it ended, Freyalise had been left for dead. She survived, but she did not leave unchanged. She had lost her sight. Her first attempt to break the prison had nearly killed her. For many, that would have been the end. For Freyalise, it became another calculation. The shard had resisted force. It had survived centuries. And killing another planeswalker was not the answer she wanted. So she kept looking, until something moved through the multiverse that should not have been able to. A wandering world, Chandalar. Unlike ordinary planes, it drifted through the multiverse. And when its path carried it across the boundary of the shard, the barrier reacted. Freyalise saw something no one else had seen. Not an opening. Not yet. Energy. Enough energy to change everything. For thousands of years, the consequences of the Sylex blast had shaped Dominaria. The cold, the isolation, the civilizations forced to grow beneath both. For the first time, Freyalise believed the prison could be broken. But no planeswalker possessed enough power alone. She would need allies. Among those who answered were two remarkable mages. Jodah, a scholar whose life already stretched across centuries, and Jaya Ballard, brilliant, fearless, and willing to attempt what others considered impossible. Together, they began preparing for a spell unlike anything Dominaria had ever witnessed. The ritual required more than knowledge. It required a vessel capable of containing unimaginable power. They turned to an ancient artifact, the Ice Cauldron. Created in the image of the legendary Sylex, not to destroy a world, but to help save one. Freyalise knew success carried its own danger. The spell would unleash enough mana to scar the world she hoped to save. Kesa prepared places of refuge. Jodah positioned powerful magical anchors. Every precaution was taken. Even then, nothing guaranteed Dominaria would survive. Then, Freyalise began. Mana surged through forests, mountains, rivers, and every great ley line upon the plain. This was no spell for one battle, no spell for one kingdom. It was the world spell. The spell worked, but its power threatened to overwhelm the world. Jodah acted. Using his mirror, he dispersed the excess mana across Terraciere. The catastrophe Freyalise feared never came, because someone else carried part of its burden. The prison resisted. For one final moment, it endured. Then, it shattered. The barrier surrounding Dominaria was gone. The long isolation had ended. The Ice Age did not disappear in a day, but winter had finally begun to lose. Glaciers retreated, forests returned, and children born beneath endless snow watched spring arrive for the very first time. History often remembers great wars, great kings, and great victories. But sometimes, the greatest act of all is simply giving the world another chance. Freyalise ended the Ice Age, but the world she saved was only beginning its next chapter.